What's up, Facebook? We are back again with another episode of High Tea. Getting back into our gig. Today's episode is going to be a little bit more. I wouldn't call it I'll say serious because it is definitely a serious topic that we do need to discuss. So yeah, this is not going to be a normal version of High Tea that you usually get. Again, I'm Joey. I'm one of the advisors to the Intersectionality Among Men project here at Diverse and Resilient.
My name is Corey, the advocate. I'm a core group member of Intersectionality Amongst Men, and this is our special guest.
I'm Broderick Pearson, also known as Montell Infinti Ross, HIV/AIDS advocate, researcher, as well as a male lead entertainer here in Milwaukee's and Wisconsin's Circuit of Entertainment for drag.
And that's our granny. So this is a family affair today. So today we'll be talking about a lot of the controversy that has been going on with LaCage Night Club here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the lack of I cannot say that word today.
Inclusivity.
Inclusivity.
Thank you. Y'all know what we're talking about. So first, we definitely want to get a backstory of what all transpired and how you were kind of brought into the situation, and then, you know, how things have gone from there.
Sure. Well, first I just want to say thank you guys for having me on here. I really appreciate being able to talk about this, especially at this moment in time of where I'm at now. I think people need to understand where I'm at now and where my truth is now may not have been where it was previously. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very important to be able to share this with individuals and be able to talk about it. But
this was kind of a personal issue for
you,
right?
For me it was personal, and a lot of it was driven off emotions and frustration and embarrassment and anger, but things have shifted for me. Mm-hmm. So I don't want people to take any of my messages as if I'm changing. It's just more so I'm evolving into what is the overall big picture of the situation. So just a small little backstory on it, because I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it all over the news or through social media, but there was a termination of an employee at LaCage, the show director and the show director / PR representative for LaCage. He was terminated, and during that process of his exit conversation with the owner that happened to have been audio recorded, some things were said directly in regards to myself, as well as the following that comes with me as an individual, and it kind of focused a bad light on people of color, specifically black people. And hearing what I heard, I reacted in a manner that I feel was needed. Mm-hmm. I truthfully do feel that it was needed, because it evoked change, it evoked a movement, and it's moving to now evoking what I feel is going to be a great positive conversation amongst the individuals that it was specifically involving. So just a small backstory, there was some racial innuendos made in a conversation that was audio recorded in regards to myself, as well as the black population here in Milwaukee, specifically the black gay population here in Milwaukee.
Which is a big part of their patrons at the establishment.
Yeah, I will say, and shout out to our people of color. They've been amazing at supporting this establishment, and this has never been something directly towards the establishment in general, because I think we all can attest to going there and feeling as if we're just another individual in the building having a great time. Mm-hmm. I do want to give credit where credit is due. Things have shifted with the venue in a positive way over the last year, not in a negative way. So this situation really kind of caught me off guard based on where it is now compared to what happened.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So as a result of the situation and what happened with the owner, you had a protest, correct?
Yeah.
How was the protest? How did it come out?
I think the protest was a movement. I don't even want to call it a protest anymore. I think it was a movement to spark discussion, a movement to spark change, and it was something that I was standing strong on. I will say the protest was created based off of my emotions at the time, of hearing what had happened and emotionally, and I was bothered. Emotionally, I was embarrassed. Emotionally, I was, for lack of better words, I was pissed off. And we're living in a day and age where our political administration, we're living in a society where that black and white line has been pushed and crossed a lot in different areas. And I felt, being who I am in this city and here in Milwaukee, and I'll own it and say, being the leader that I am in this community, I felt if I didn't evoke a movement of change, then this was going to cause a bigger issue on our community than it already had to cause. So that was what drove the protest. That's what drove the big social media movement that everybody saw. That's what's driven the news interviews. It was an emotional situation of concern that at that time I didn't know any other way of releasing it outside of, we need to create a movement in this moment. And we can't react in a manner that they think we're going to react. We have to react in a manner that's going to shock them.
Because a lot of people were scared of that.
Yeah. It was a concern. I think people may have thought that it was going to turn into something that it wasn't. But I give all shout out and praise and thanks to everyone that did come to the protest demonstration, because we did what we needed to do, which was we evoked conversation and we evoked change, and we started a movement where people recognized, like, well, here's a group of individuals that are no longer going to tolerate this anymore.
And I definitely want to applaud that, because I was a part of, or I was out there during the Sherman Phoenix riots.
Mm-hmm.
I witnessed that, and I followed the whole story all the way up to the children that were being shot at.
Mm-hmm.
So even I was worried, like, oh my God, what are they going down there for? What's being planned? What's going to be really talked about?
It was actually extremely peaceful. I was there. Again, I'm gonna support 100%, because what people have to realize is that in this situation, yes, Montell is presenting the fact that this is something that directly affected him, but at the same time, you have to take the time to look back over the time that you've been participating and actively going to this establishment, and just say, hey, has anything been a little bit sketchy or a little bit out of character for me? And then you take that and make that your driving part for being a part of this whole movement, like you said.
Yeah.
Because again, what you went through might not affect directly everybody, but at
Right.
the same time, I personally have noticed that I have been subject to all of those things in that establishment as well.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you say that, because, and not to even cut you off, I think you bring up something that's important and for us to remember. LaCage has had a stigma upon itself over the last, I want to say, 5+ years, 5 to 10 years, based on some things that could have been racially motivated, based on things that just may not have been an understanding whether it was on their aspect or our aspect, and it's caused a line and it's caused friction. Outside of this situation, and I want to make this clear, my movement was never about LaCage as the establishment. My movement was never about LaCage, the staff that worked there, because in all fairness, it's been a very inclusive place for everyone. A lot of things that we used to hear, where we used to always say, we want to hear better music. We don't want, why are we having to pay so much money to get in the club? Why do we walk in a club and automatically feel like a black person that's the worst person ever? In all honesty, that stigma has been gone from LaCage for quite some time. I can't remember the last time I went to LaCage and I didn't hear every song that I thought should be played in the club.
No
and I didn't see every
cute.
creative color inside of here having an amazing time. So this movement was never against the establishment. It was never against anyone that serviced in that establishment. This was I want to use the right word, and it wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a situation
That needed to be
that needed to be addressed. Exactly. That's what it was.
So will there be more of the protest and more activism taking place in regards to the leadership of LaCage?
I expressed this earlier on my Facebook post, and I'm pretty sure it drew a lot of conversation amongst people. So I'm glad to actually be here and have this conversation. A protest in that manner, protest demonstration is meant to have a resolution met. A protest demonstration is meant to cause a movement to where a discussion and a conversation or something is addressed around that protest, around that center issue. For me, in the situation, I feel that I'm now moving, where I'm at now, I'm moving towards a resolution. And the only way that resolution can happen is if me as a person show that I can sit down with the individual that I've had this concern with and just gain an understanding from him. And he gain an understanding from me. Because in all honesty, that may be the issue. There may not be some understanding on both ends. And to make it even a little more, he may not even understand our culture. We can't fault him at that, but what we can do is take this opportunity and increase his knowledge and educate him in a better way. And allow him to give us an opportunity to express what he has experienced. It may have been some lifelong, we know we've all faced internalized oppression based on things that we have experienced as a culture. We know that we hold things in that may have been life trauma for us and it has impacted us. How do we know that that's not the same thing that has occurred with this man? I could not have said this last week. I wasn't thinking in this manner last week. And I will repeat it. Everything that was driven from me that started this movement was all based on emotions. I was emotionally pissed.
But you knew that there was a call to action.
I knew there was a call to action, and then I took some time just to reflect within myself and say, there has to be a resolution. We can't just keep pounding at this and pounding at this and pounding at this without giving a resolution. And that resolution to me is a powerful, helpful, understanding discussion amongst the parties that are involved. And the parties that are involved for me, because there's other individuals involved in this protest. I'm only speaking on behalf of myself. The resolution for me and that conversation piece for me has to do with no one but me and the owner of the establishment. And we are both in a position where we are willing to have this conversation of understanding. Because that's what we need to do. We need to have a conversation of understanding and together, not separately, together work towards the best resolution that is going to be on behalf of the community and specifically our people of color. Because we know that's where it's branched off from.
Now, in your eyes, how important is it for queer people of color to actually be informed about the issue? Because, again, this is something that can happen at any of our LGBT establishments that we have, and also we also get that oppression sometimes for our cisgender brothers and sisters at the same time. So how important is it that
I think it's very important because, and I think this specific situation has shown our community that a lot of times people see us as people of color, specifically black people, and they think our reaction towards an action is always going to be this. So I think what this has given us as a community, specifically our black and brown community, has given us an opportunity to start to think before we react, to start to do things in a form that is going to make an overall impact on the community and not just the impact on the situation or the impact on that person. I think it was extremely important for our community to know about this. When I found out about everything, including the audio and everything that had the details in regards to the situation, I could have kept that all to myself. I could have went to the owner, had a conversation with him, told him how pissed I was, told him that he'll never see me in LaCage again and never go back there, and I could have internalized that and kept that all to myself. But I knew that this situation was bigger than me because it wasn't just about me as a person, it was about me as a community member. And y'all know me, people really know me. I truly do love my community. I may people may look at me and sometimes be like, oh, he kind of uppity, or he puts himself on a different plateau or something like that. We know what it is. I mean, we gotta call it out for what it is.
Okay.
A bitch may look at me and just be like, oh, she thinks she a little bit too much. Whatever you may think, I'm here to tell you I am totally opposite of that person. I come from a family where we have learned that we're no better than the next man, no matter what you have, no matter what you've been through, no matter who you are. And I always want to meet people on their level and where they're at. And I just have such a big heart that if I love something, I put my passion into it. And I love my community. So I'm going to put my passion behind what I do for my community. So yeah, I think it was very important for my community to hear about this.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
In your eyes, what do you feel would be a feasible resolution to this situation, or just what do you feel will be something as far as coming to a common ground with, you know, yourself and the owners in regards to this situation?
Good question. A week ago I may have answered this differently because again I was basing everything off of my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I can't answer what that is right now. I think I'm going to gain that answer tonight through this powerful conversation and this great conversation that I'm going to have with the owner. I need to hear certain things I need to give him the opportunity to speak, because
So it's definitely going to be a vulnerable conversation.
yeah, I want to release all. I'm not going in there with no attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going in there with no anger. I'm not going in there with, George, you did this, you did that, and this ain't never done that, and you better do this, you better do that, you better do all that before I come back in here. No. A week ago, that would have been my response.
Yeah.
Now, I need to give him an opportunity to speak to me, and I need to give him an opportunity to let me gain an understanding of him, and he needs to get an opportunity to understand me. And together, him and I, we need to come up with a resolution that is going to be not just for our community, but on behalf of everything, the establishment, him as a businessman, because I do want to take it back. That man has owned that club since 1984. Even though there were previous owners, he is the reason we have LaCage in this city. It is one of the most historical LGBT venues in our city. He's owned that. He's provided this for our community. His personal perceptions of what he believes has nothing to do with him being a business owner.
Right.
And maybe there's some that's where a conversation needs to happen about personal perceptions versus being an amazing business owner, and personal perceptions versus being a community member.
Right.
Now let's talk and let's come to a common ground so we both have a great understanding and that we move forward. And not even just him and I moving forward, hopefully this conversation that we have, and I have high hopes for it, I truly believe this conversation is going to be a piece that is going to allow the community to see him in a different light, to allow the community to see myself in a different light, and allow the community to see what terrible situation has turned into a powerful movement.
No.
And he deserves that right to be a part of that.
Definitely. Now, another quick question for you. So, we all, follow you on social media, and you do have a lot of influence. So with the post that you made today in regards to the meeting that will be taking place tonight, can you kind of give us a little bit of backstory on how you came to this personal resolution?
Yes.
After taking that day to just kind of like...
So you saw my post where I said I need to think. Okay.
You had to take a day to kind of like process everything, rethink, really, because at the end of the day, this is Broderick Montell Infinti Ross Pearson stepping to the forefront and being, the catalyst for this movement, but at the same time, you have a lot of weight on your shoulders because you're carrying our entire, basically, QPOC community on your back in regards to this.
So you have to remove yourself.
You got to kind of take yourself out of it. So
and that's what I had to do. I thought about it. I created the whole protest movement that happened last week, and then I doubled back on it and said, okay, we're going back. We're doing a round 2 this week, and I created that. I don't know what it. I know what it was. I had to have a conversation with God. I had to have a conversation with him because something inside of me said, you need to change the trajectory of where you are going right now.
Because hurt people hurt people.
Exactly.
Say that one more time so people can hear that.
You hurt people hurt people.
Yes, and I felt I was a hurt person and I was going to cause more. Yeah, and I was going to cause more hurt. But that hurt wasn't going to go towards LaCage and it wasn't going to go towards George. That hurt was going to come towards us. Yeah. That was going to backfold on us.
It was already started too. People were lost. The communities was lost. Okay, where do we go now? I want to support Broderick and I understand the movement, but
I want to go right. PP on the head.
Yeah. So I had to take a minute. I had to take a day, and I just had to say, Broderick, don't respond to no one. Don't post about anything. If you're going to post anything, post and tell people you are thinking. Because I knew people were following and I knew people were waiting to see what was going to be my next move. So I really needed a day to think. And when I thought about it all, I will honestly say something inside of me said, you as a person have to humble yourself. You have to step outside of yourself. And you have to find a way to meet that resolution. But guess what? George needs to be a part of that.
Definitely.
George has to be a part of that. Because, I'll say this, and I want to say this, and I want people to understand this. I went into a mission of George has to go. George has to go. Okay, what if I would have succeeded? What if George would have said, you know what, Broderick, you won. I'm out. I'm selling this business.
Right.
And he sold it to someone that's 10 times worse than what he personally has viewed, and he sold it to someone that's 10 times more powerful than who he is. Then where are we at as a community? We lost.
Right.
Or what if he sold it to someone that said Walker's Point is the up and coming area? I'm about to put a Walgreens right here. I'm about to put a 5-star restaurant right here.
Oh, shit.
I'm about to put something right here that is no longer LGBT.
The gentrification is real.
We lost.
Exactly.
Every corner that I turned to and that I was thinking, I was like, we're going to win, but we are going to lose. And if I don't shift how I am thinking right now, I am setting us up to lose. Definitely. And I knew deep inside something had to happen between me and this man. I knew we had to have a conversation, but I didn't even express that to him on my day of thinking. I just thought. I just was really thinking. And God is an amazing person. I don't know what it was, but I got a phone call the following day. Broderick,
he's ready.
Montell, this is George. Can we sit down and have a conversation? And his approach, his sincerity behind it, and I know when somebody's blowing smoke up my ass, so I don't want people to be like, oh, he was just blowing smoke up your ass, he's just kissing your ass. Right? No. I heard him. I didn't just take the phone call. I heard him. Yes. And I said, somebody upstairs been listening to me because this man is on the other side of my phone right now. And if he's on this phone and I know he's listening to me upstairs, I need to have this conversation with this man. And I agreed to have that conversation with him.
And that's happening
tonight. And that's happening tonight. And I felt that if I'm going to have this conversation, based on how I am so optimistic about this conversation, for me, there will be no other protest on my behalf. Now remember, there's a whole nother party involved.
Right.
But for me, I don't see a reason to continue something that is going to possibly make us lose.
Right.
I have to work towards this resolution that is including with this man to hopefully come to something that is going to be conducive for him and I. And so today I just felt I had to tell, I didn't want to tell nobody. I really didn't. I mean, to be all honest, I did. I just want to have my meeting with him. But, of course, tomorrow's Friday. The protest was set for tomorrow on Friday. And from what I hear, the protest still will be going on. But for Broderick, Montell Infinti Ross, Pearson, where I'm at right now is the optimistic approach to have a conversation with a business owner, that we are not understanding one another right now, and let's sit down and have a conversation and understand one another way better than we think we understand one another. I don't know him, he doesn't know me. Now let's get to know one another.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it here first. Corey, you got any final thoughts?
I just can't help but, I don't know, kind of compare this situation to Jay-Z in the NFL. How he had to think about the larger picture. Okay, we can protest this man, and we can do all of this and say all of this, but where is it going to go? What are we going to do with it? Like, what doors is it going to open for the community? Now you're at a position where you can create more space. You feel me? Instead of more roadblocks. So I'm with you, Roger.
Thank you. That means a lot, especially coming from you being a part of our younger, promising community. A part of me felt like, am I making the wrong decision? Am I letting my community down? Are people gonna be like, well, bitch, I just followed you last week, and now this week you ready to sit down and talk to him? Hopefully I can show a different way of just thinking.
People gotta understand too that you're human.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
We do things driven off emotions sometimes. But sometimes you have to step, like you said, step outside of yourself and do things for a greater cause. And I say it all the time, I do things for a big picture. I don't do it just for me. And I don't do it to just make it big.
And as a black man in this climate, we can't think with our emotions. We gotta think about the big picture.
Yeah. And we also have to lead with love. I say that to my friends all the time. That's all that I'm about. So in all of this, even though it is a little frustrating, and yes, is another notch on the whole belt of disparity and oppression, but at the same time we have to lead with love because we can't give them what they give us.
Right.
So I want to thank you for taking the time to come speak to us here at High Tea.
Thank you.
Before we go, though, I do want to talk about the QPLC Spirit Week that is coming up next month. So that will be November 4th through November 9th. There's things that are associated with every day. So y'all seen flyers and stuff like that that have come out on Facebook. Trust and believe, we have way more promotion that is coming as well. So Monday is going to be Awareness Day. Sorry, I gotta look at my phone, guys. And that is basically just like Spirit Week in high school. Each week is gonna have something, each day is gonna have something that you can do. And we'll also have a hashtag that for the first couple of days before the events actually begin, where you can actually join the conversation and be a part of what we have going on. So Monday the 4th will be Awareness Day. So you'll show us what HIV and PrEP awareness means to you. It's so vast and broad, so y'all take that and run with it. Tuesday will be Twin Day. Find you a twin. Y'all post y'all little twin photo or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wednesday, which is one of my favorite days.
Gender Bender.
Gender Bender Day. I can't wait to pull out.
Jada, come beat me out.
Okay. My cute little Edna Bob. That's all y'all get. Y'all just get the wig. That's
Just the wig.
Just the wig.
I think the full throttle. Mine is shaving my
And
shit
then my
off.
best friend, House Father Buddha Loren, will be hosting a Vogue workshop at Salute Society Studio in Bronzeville.
Nice.
And that will be a taped event, and that is sponsored by the QPLC week as well, and the House of Loren. Shout out to the House of Loren family out there, Milwaukee chapter. Also Thursday will be our pajama day. So we'll be having an event here at Diverse and Resilient. We'll have a Pose Watch Party. And Jennifer Barnes Balenciaga will be hosting that event and facilitating that event. And we'll watch Pose. Will be a conversation. Intersectionality Among Men and Sheba are partnering in that event.
Nice.
So we're bringing all the QPOC organizations and groups into this and showing that we can do some stuff. Friday, another event hosted by I Am, and that is our silent party at King Hall, hosted by none other than Montell Infinti Ross himself. It's gonna be about, if y'all ain't been to a silent party, definitely come out ready to.
It probably would be one of your favorite parties you've ever been to.
It's gonna be one of your favorite.
We're gonna
parties.
pussy hop on a headstand, guys. Wigs on the floor. All of that. And then to culminate everything, Saturday morning there will be a BBC brunch, which is British.
I was gonna say what? Because I'm only thinking of one thing when I hear BBC.
And that's why we did it. It's
Okay.
Ooh.
What does
Help
it
me out,
stand
production.
for?
It's
Blackout brunch for community.
Blackout brunch for community. Thank you. And I'm actually hosting that event. Y'all know I'm trying to do my little hosting stuff, so I will be hosting that event. And we're inviting. Well, not we're necessarily inviting. It's going to be an open event, but there definitely will be a certain amount of individuals that we will be able to feed. So it is imperative that you do get there early and pay attention to the time frames that are on the flyers. And we just want to make it an opportunity for people that don't necessarily always have time to communicate with each other, have that opportunity, and also just bring light to us being able to come together and not always have drama.
Yeah. Can I just say, just real quick before we close this out, I really appreciate everything that you guys are doing, specifically the entire intersectionality amongst men group. You guys are providing something that has been needed to be provided for our Black gay community, specifically our men, our young men, and I wish that people would really kind of take this a little bit more, to own it as far as being a Black gay man, because what you guys have created and what you guys stand for and what you guys do for this community, I have not seen since I was younger, when there was PQ, RUN2, House of Infinity, Charles D Productions, when there was so much where Black men of color wanted to give back to their community and to their fellow people that look like them, that were like them, that sound like them, and you guys are doing exactly that. So kudos. Please don't stop. I really, 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 truly love seeing you guys thrive and shine on the level that you are.
That's big. We appreciate that. Yeah. And then on Saturday night will be the mini ball. Listen, this mini ball is about to be some teas. The theme is school days. So if you haven't seen Spike Lee's School Days movie, I don't want to be alone tonight. I need you to go watch that, Good or Bad Hair, all of those moments. That will be commentated by none other than Ricardo Wynn. Y'all know him as Ricardo Wynn, but we know him as TT Mizrahi. Yeah. So he will be on the mic commentating down, and we got some cash prize categories as well. I'm sponsoring a category myself, the MKE Twerk Down, so I want to see the girls bring their stuff. The information for the ball and categories will be out within the next couple of days.
I'll sponsor a category.
Okay. Yeah. We'll talk off camera, period. Come get this money! Period. That's what we say.
It's a free event. Come. You
Everything all of the events are free. Please let us know. We want you all to be involved. Also, comment below if you have any ideas for upcoming events, any discussions, or any topics that you want us to talk about here on High Tea. And with that being said, anybody else have anything else to say? Well, thank y'all for tuning in to another wonderful episode of High Tea.
That's all, folks.
Appreciate you. Thank you.